go again. You think by now I'd know better. Locked in my head, romanticizing forever. Last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Dive in at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush looking into your eyes. Playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? My God, don't we look good together? I should be running away, but so what, whatever. Oh, last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Dive in at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush looking into your eyes. Playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless
Hello everyone, it's Kathy Zilski. Welcome back to my channel and my studio and to my weekly live stream. But this week, it's a little different. So if you're just tuning in, I am not making a card today. Instead, I'm answering your questions. Now, here's how it's gonna go. I asked via my newsletter and on social media posts on Instagram and Facebook and all the places. I asked you to submit questions in advance and I have those here. And I'm going to start there, and then we're going to jump into the chat, okay? So we're going to do that first. We're going to do that, and there's a lot of questions. And I have my hair down, and I don't know how long it's going to last. So, I'm not making a card, so I can look, a little more like this. Okay, let's go to the question screen. How fancy am I today? I'm very fancy. I want to make sure this is all working. So here is the blog post that I asked people to leave your questions. And what's great about this is you can read the question, I can read the question. So if you get lost and where we're at, I'm going to go through in order. So shall we get started? First, I want to welcome everyone for being here today. Again, it's a little different. This is going to be very chatty. I may not have great answers to all the questions, but I am going to do my best. Also, the air conditioning is not on today. We had a cool front come through, and luckily in Minnesota, I'm at the top of the so-called tornado alley. We did not get any severe weather, so really grateful for that, because in Minnesota, as they say, stick around, the weather will change. Also, before we get started, I gotta say, go Timberwolves. I do like basketball. I don't talk a lot about it, but this is pretty exciting. Okay, we're gonna scroll up. There's the video itself, and we're starting with question number 1 from Adriana. Adriana says, I got an Empress and I love it. Don't know why I waited so long. I use the magnetic plate only to cut on. How do you like using yours? And I am going to tell you, that thing is fantastic. And I don't know if I have my die cut cam set up yet. Let's see. It might come through. Come on, die cut cam. You coming? There it is. And there's my Kleenex. I love this so much. Jennifer McGuire told me for a long time, you should get it. You're going to love it. And you know what? I totally do. And now I got to go back to the questions because here's how it's going to roll. Love that machine. And the thing that I like the most about having an electronic die cut machine, my wrists. My wrist doesn't hurt. I got old wrists and they hurt. The only part on me that's really thin, my wrists. Got to protect them. All right, moving on to question 2 from Geraldine. And Geraldine asks, we've seen an alarming increase in rude comments or judgments directed at both inexperienced and seasoned content creators in the last while. This is surprising considering one would think the crafting community should be more one of sharing kindness. What do you think might be the eventual impact on this amount of creators sharing free social media content online? Okay, I love this commercial. Question. Sorry, I was about to say, I love this question, and I'm about to go into a commercial. You know, we have seen, I don't know if we've seen an alarming increase, but we definitely see a lot of rude comments. And here's the thing. I think what will happen is, number one, it's going to intimidate content creators from creating that content and sharing it online. That's point one, because you can only take so many negative comments, and then you kind of feel like crap about yourself, and then you think, why would I want to do this? And I'm lucky. I don't get a lot of mean comments. And when I do, no, Geraldine, don't be sorry for this question. I think it's a good one, because I do get questions, but I also think there are tone issues where we might not take things the way they were intended. Like just the other day, I got a comment that someone said, you were so pretty when you were younger. Now, in the moment, I guess I could have taken that as a compliment, but I just sort of went to the post on YouTube and deleted the comment because I thought, you know what? I don't have the bandwidth for that today, because it was a video from 6 years ago. And I'm like, do you mean prettier or thinner? Because my face was, I mean, here's what I'm trying to do going forward. I'm not going to get rude back. I'm not going to engage. I'm going to delete that comment. And if it's offensive, I'll block it. Some comments I'll leave, just because it's funny to me. But I will tell you this, if someone comes into my space and is very offensive, like maybe it's a racist comment or a homophobic comment or something that goes against, a sexist, something that goes against who I am as a person, they're going to get blocked. That's what I'm going to say. But I think people, I believe in the phrase hurt people. And I think people might be struggling in their lives and they want to spread that sadness around. Or some people are just really mean. Okay, let's move on. Marlene Murphy. Marlene's question is, do I store my stamps as a set, and do I know a way to catalog sentiments? Here's the thing. I am pretty bad at cataloging content, but I will show you what I do. I store all of my stamp sets and dies in pockets, right? And if there is a coordinating stencil for that set, it goes in the pocket too. So sometimes having these larger pockets can be really nice for that. Otherwise, I store stencils separately in binders by category. But the extent of my organization, I think you can read that. Oh yeah, you can. I do it by company and type of product. So this is for my CZ Design large stamps and dies. I have these little printable, customizable dividers, and you can make these yourself and laminate them. It's basically Jennifer McGuire's approach to organization. And I will tell you this, if you ever want the best tips in organization, just go to jennifermcguire.com or jennifermcguireinc.com. And you know what? She's got it all. I learned everything I know from her. Laura says, how has my card making changed since I started? Are there techniques that you thought you would never do and now love? 100%, Laura. I think my style is still pretty simple. However, things like coloring stamped images, things like anything remotely messy, things like taking a paintbrush and spattering and splattering. I mean, I would have never done that, right? One thing that card making has done for me, it has shown me you're actually more creative and you can have creative fun when you play. And that has been a gift to me creatively, because I never, as a scrapbooker, did anything messy or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what's changed, is a sense of adventure that I did not have in my crafting before. All right. Mari says, I have the Tonic Tim Holtz mini guillotine and have trouble getting straight cuts. Tips about where to place the paper. Okay, here's the thing. I have the mini guillotine too, right? But like when I go to cut things, I trim sentiment strips here, right? And I just got to make sure you hold down the guide. But I cut almost everything else on my big guillotine. And I stand up when I do it, because you really have to press those guides down and cut. But when it comes to sentiment strips, if you've watched my channel, I got to show you this. I know there are tips and tricks, but I use these. I use my sentiment label dies for pretty much every sentiment strip because I don't do well at cutting freehand. So, but try standing up if you don't already. Sometimes that helps. Robin asks, do you need watercolor paper for ink blending? No, cardstock, regular white cardstock. However, smooth cardstock makes a huge difference. So look for something like, for example, Gina K Designs, Hero Arts, Concord and Knight. They all make a very smooth white cardstock that kind of lets the ink sit on top of the paper, and so you can blend and it gives you that nice soft look that you're looking for. Part of it's the inks, but having a smooth cardstock, that's what you need for ink blending, not watercolor paper. Karen asks, I don't know how fast, I want to get through these. There's a lot of questions in here, and I have to have some coffee. I got to think about Karen's question. Also, people in the comments are leaving some really great tips on lining things up, so thank you for that as well. Also want to say hi to my moderators, Beth and Emma. Hey ladies, good to see you here. And welcome. You know, again, this is a little different today. 2 colors to choose. What would they be and why? Pink and orange. That's it. Number 1, they blend together like a butter. Like my friend Laura says, like butter. They're beautiful. They're happy. They're warm. What else do you need? That's why. I think I could work with those colors forever. I'd probably get bored eventually, but it would take a while. Sharon asks the difference when to use different types of inks. So that is such a good question too. And that I'll give you the short answer. 90% of the time I use dye inks. Dye inks are water-based. They blend beautifully, but they also dry more quickly. And pigment and oxides, I mean, I don't do a lot right now with either. Occasionally I'll use a pigment ink in black, for example, like Altenew, the crisp, exceptionally crisp dye or pigment ink, the black one. Can't think of what it's called right now. Like if you're going to stamp an image and then you want to pour a little embossing powder on it to make it stick to the image, and then you want to emboss to get that sort of textural stamped look, that's when you would use a pigment ink. But oxides are really just kind of for funky fun and a different kind of look. So 90% of the time I use dye inks, and I'm sure I'll bust, now that I've said that, I'm going to bust out some oxides because it's been so long, but I hope that helps. It's really also kind of a personal preference. Like you have to think about, what are you doing? Are you going to ink blend? Are you going to use your stencils? Because you can use your oxide inks for that as well. But pigment ink in general, you would have to wait too long for things to dry if you were stenciling or something like that. So yeah, we'll see. Kari asks, have I ever used Yupo paper with alcohol inks to make a background? Do I have any tips? Okay, here's the thing. I think I've done it once. It's not my thing. Everything was sticky and tacky and like, you know, to the touch. I did like a card, I think 4 years ago. I've never done one since. I'm not your girl. So anyone else can pop in and answer for me. I don't do much with I have some alcohol inks. I have no Yupo paper. I don't really know what to do. You know, I don't know. And I should go back to the oxide thing because I see in the chat, Kathy just posted, oxides are great for blending. They do blend. They're creamy. They blend together beautifully. So if you struggle and you think I want to create a nice blend, check out your oxides. All right, Casey's question. Do I have recommendations on what to do if I hit a creative wall to get the energy or to get the creativity flowing? Does this happen to you? And any ideas you might share? You know, one of my best little bits of advice, if you are sitting down to make something and you're not feeling it and everything is starting to look like caca du jour and you're just like, ugh, I have no ideas, go do something else. You know, just walk away. I think sometimes we have this idea that we have to be creative on demand all the time when we're makers and crafters, and that isn't necessarily the reality, right? There are days where I sit down and I've started to film a video. I did this over the winter made a couple things in the month of December that were just horrible. They were not good. No one would want to see these. I don't know what I was thinking. I ended up recycling them. And then I realized, Kathy, you are trying to make fetch happen. You know, I'm going to quote Mean Girls. Sometimes you try to make fetch happen and it's just not happening, and you can just walk away, right? Walk away. Give yourself a day. Give yourself 2 days. Because I think what inspires each of us is different. I know for myself, I am very inspired by the products themselves. So, you know, yes, this is my job now and this is what I do to make a living. But if I get a new stamp set, I'll see the stamps and I'm like, that's what inspires me to start making something. Part of my Something Old, Something New series has been for me to connect to older products and find inspiration in how to use them again. And so I do look to products a lot for my inspiration, but when I hit that wall, I walk away. Or I see Deborah in the comments. She says, I'm always organizing instead of crafting. That can be great though too, right? If you come into your corner of your bedroom or wherever it is you craft and you have no ideas, organize your supplies. They'll thank you. All right. Vicki West says, do you and how do you store extra prepped sentiments? Vicki, I don't do it. I saw last night I was watching Gina's live and she has like these bins and I know too, people like Jennifer McGuire, they cut a ton of stuff in advance. I don't make enough cards to make that worth my time, so I don't do it. I have leftover pieces, right, that I will save. But yeah, I don't do it. I don't prep in advance. But you know what, Vicki West? There's these little, gosh, what are they? They're little plastic things from Spellbinders. I think they're like these project holders. They're super cute. And I would think something like that would be really fun. And again, after this live, Beth or Emma's going to let me know what I threw out, and I will find links and source things for you if I can. So, because these little tin are, and also scrapbook.com has one too. They're very, very cute. And Vicki also wants to know the little binder that I keep my embossing folders in. That is from, I'll show you. Don't look at my butt. These are from Tailored Expressions. They're really, really great. I keep all of my stencils grouped by category in these binders, and I love them. 6x6 or smaller stencils will work, and I love them. Oh, yes. Okay, did you look at my butt? Don't look at my butt. Okay. Jacqueline, I've answered that question, how I store my stamps and dies, but I don't list them. I don't list them. And here's the thing too, which for me is a little different. I'm not really at risk of, I've only bought something I already have like 2 or 3 times, because most of the time when I use something and I go through it, I'm either going to keep it because I love it or I'm going to put it in my to give box. So yes, there we go. All right, Pam's question. Oh boy, all my history. Ooh, you know what? Here's the thing, Pam, I'm going to tell you what. I have a blog post that talks about how I got to where I am today. Long story short, journalism degree, became a graphic designer, did that for many years, had some kids, started scrapbooking, wrote a couple books, thought it was great, taught online classes, scrapbooked like a crazy woman for years. And then my boss at Scrapbooking Cards Today said, I want you to make a card. That's kind of how it came together. But I have a blog post that talks about my history, not so much about the card making part, but kind of like, how did I get to where I, am? Oh, and Nancy. Let me go back. Nancy said, do you catalog any of your sentiments? And the answer to that is no. I don't catalog anything. I don't keep lists for those types of things because, like I said, when I go through, yeah, Betsy, that was a very brief version. When I get a stamp set, if I really love it, it's going to get labeled. It's going to get put in with whatever company makes that stamp set. So there's not even really a lot of division within those areas, right? It's like, this is Concord and Ninth. You go in the Concord and Ninth bin and you stay there. So, oh yeah, and Lori too. I did stuff for Designer Digitals, but sorry about that, Nancy. So my history, I have a blog post for that, and I'm going to put that in the description after the video. Sorry that I skipped. I gotta go slower. Whew. Dawn says, do I have a favorite technique? And what's my favorite product now and when I first started? So today, I think my favorite technique is stenciling, layered stencils. I think it just makes me feel so creative and crafty, and I know that I can't color that way. So that's my current favorite technique. My favorite product now and when I first started are the same. Can you guess? Can you guess what it is? Oh, thank you, Beth. You just posted that for me. Can you guess what it is? It was then, and it is as it was before, so be it now. Misty. The Misty tool. Yep, you guys nailed it. I would not be where I am today. I would not have stuck with stamping. It was the Misty. It was watching many hours of Gina Kay and Jennifer McGuire and realizing, hey, if I have this tool, this fantastic little tool, where are you? Come here, honey. I can stamp, and I could not stamp with much success. And more importantly, I didn't have fun stamping, so I didn't do it. The Misty, by and large, favorite then, favorite now, favorite forever. All right, Christine's question. What do you recommend we as crafters do to support local crafty businesses and keep them in business? Oh my gosh, due to retirements, et cetera, northern Minnesota. I don't know how far north you are, but there was a great store up in Pequot that was so cute, and it went out of business. I guess the best way to support your local stores is to shop there regularly. Everything is expensive, right? Their rent, their utilities, having a space in this day and age. I know a lot of people love to shop online who don't have access to those stores. So it's almost like a catch-22, right? We purchase things online because we can't get them anymore in person. But I say if you have a local store, shop there. That's the best way. Use your capital to, support those businesses. We had a great store here in the Twin Cities and beyond called Archivers. And I don't know if they expanded too quickly, but they might have, and they couldn't keep up. It's a hard thing to do, to run a store. So good question, Christine. And it's a very nice long question. I'm going to keep going. I do love the local craft store. Let me tell you, that was more in my scrapbook era, and we had some great stores here in St. Paul even. All right, Michelle asks, organizing. Wow, you guys have so many questions so far on organizing. Okay, Michelle, the reason I can find a stamp set and use it, mostly because I know what I'm going to do in advance I pull the products in advance that I'm showing to you. And that is what I do. I look through my stamps and pull things out, and then I say, I'm going to sit down and make a card, and I'm going to turn on my video camera, and we're going to make something. So that's what I do. I look through what I have, and the way my organization is set up, it's by company. And for Simon Says Stamp and CZ Design, the brands that I have the most of, they are broken down much more further. So I have a little bin in CZ Design, and it says CZ Design Word Dies, CZ Design Encouragement Dies, CZ Design Holiday Dies, CZ Design. It goes on, and then I make my little dividers. In fact, I will show you. You know what? I'm going to get it. Hold on a second. I think it will be helpful if you see it. Oh, it's very heavy. Oh gosh. Okay, here we go. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm going to get so many things that my desk is going to be completely... Okay, we're on question 18. Help me remember that, because we're going to have to come back and scroll down. That's just the way it works. Here we go. All right. I just think it's good to see this kind of thing, but here we go. We're coming back to 18. These are all dies, so you can see categories: birthday, Christmas, Christmas words, encouraging words, Halloween. CZ Design hellos. Look at all the hello dies I have. And also, again, I have a blog post with templates for making your own. I just use the color cardstock I love is, what is it called? Whisper by Gina K. It's my favorite gray, and that's what I do all my dividers, right? So CZ love dies. So anything that's a love die, hugs, trio of love. I mean, and I do make my little pockets for every single one. Also, my hugs die. I was missing the shadow layer for about 2 years, and I found it. I'm so happy. CZ Design people. So here's mom and dad, mom, hey mama. CZ Design sassy words. Haven't done a lot with those. CZ Design shape dies. I try to break down the brands. Oh, that's just a thing to hold this way. And well, oh, this bin actually is from Interdesign, Linus, or Interdesign is the brand. Their kitchen, they go into your fridge. But here on this side, now these are stamps, okay? CZ Design Christmas. This is all the Christmas I've ever done. And then, oh, that's not in the right place. Oh, that's not in the right place. What the heck? I'm not sure what's happening here, but I want to show you. And again, dies go in the back. There's a tab missing in here. But again, CZ Sentiments. These are terribly organized. But if I'm going through and I think to myself, I really want to find a stamp. Oh, look at that. I just used that. It's one of my oldest stamp sets. Oh, and I just misplaced birthday. Well, here we go. This is how I do it. And I do this for Simon Says Stamp. I do this for Gina K Designs. I do this for Waffle Flower Crafts. I do this for Concord and Ninth. Then I have Spellbinders and Pretty Pink Posh. I have a lot of this stuff in my closet. And also, I'll post a link if you haven't seen my studio tour, which is this room. Let's go back to question 18. Then I will post that. All right, we gotta scroll. It's just how it goes every time. You got to get all the way down to 18. All right, so hopefully that was oh, Michelle wants to know, Dazzle Dry, how do I keep my everything looking so soft and cuticle or hangnail free? I have a bottle of Maintain in my studio. I use this stuff 3 or 4 times a day. Dazzle Dry. Seriously, I oil the crap out of my nails. All right. Marcy, thanks to your Concord and Ninth class, I discovered the joy of stenciling. What company's inks do I prefer to stencil and blend with? Do I have a favorite? You know, it is kind of like picking a favorite child. I will tell you this, okay? I use Simon Says Stamp, which I know really, really well. The Positively Saturated brand line is fantastic. I know Gina K. They're fabulous inks. And I know Concord and Ninth. Those are the 3 main ones that I use the most. And, oh, did you just get I don't know if there was a commercial break. I thought I turned ads off. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. And then I have some Pink Fresh Studio and Altenew. I know their brand less well, but they're great too. I've been using Altenew inks and they're new ones in the circle. I don't really have a favorite line. I have the lines that I know best, which is Gina and Simon Says Stamp. But I kind of mix them up because they're all really high quality products. And I think you can pick a company. You can try several inks. You don't have to use the same brand for everything, you know, just mix and match. I've been doing that more in a video. So I don't have a favorite child. I have a family of inks that I love. Roberta, hey Roberta, she says, thanks for being you. Well, I tried to be someone else. It just didn't work. I'm just kidding. I like your style of teaching and your winging it style. My question is more of one that if we didn't have the being in crowds anxiety issue, what would be your ideal in-person crafting event? Where would it be? You know, I'll never do them. I can say that with confidence. But I think my favorite type of event would be one kind of like what my friend Allie Edwards hosted a number of years ago. It was very small, much more personal, fewer people, and the opportunity to actually connect with people. And I think smaller events would be great like that. The other question is, would I be willing to do a craft session via Zoom? No, you know what? Zoom is not my jam. I do so many meetings on Zoom that I feel like I would conflate work with fun. You know what I mean? And that I think would make it less fun for me. Also, this is so weird, but like I share with you on the internet when I make a card. But for me, crafting has always been solitary. I never went to crops when I was a scrapbooker because I couldn't get anything done because of the way I made scrapbook pages. I remember traveling to a craft event and I made absolutely no cards because I'm like, I don't have all my things. And so for me, I share with you my solitary experience of crafting. And believe me, I freaking love it. Every time I make a card, I'm like, I just did that, you know? And yes, I'm filming it and it's part of my job, but there's a joy that I feel just in being alone. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, huh? But thank you for the question. Michelle asks, how do I decide what little trays I need during my projects? Okay, so funny because thanks to one of you, I remembered where this came from. It was from the owner of This Calls for Confetti. I actually emailed her today to ask her, where did you get this? It's so cute. And then I've been using this little die, right? I saw this little guy on a Concord and Ninth video. It's just a ceramic paint palette, and I put little soft feet on it so that it can sit on my table. It just kind of depends. I sometimes if something's cute, I want to use it. You know what I mean? Sometimes just because it's cute. Let's be real. That's adorable. And where do I keep them when they're not in use? I also have some cute little. I don't have them here because they're being cleaned in the dishwasher. Little mixing bowls for when I put like pencil blending solution. I keep them in a drawer, or I keep them, these things I just pulled off the counter because it's kind of a mess in here right now. Messy for me, but I do love them. Was conflate a good word? My husband, I get a lot of criticism when I'm ranting and raving about the state of the world. My husband will say, don't conflate this with that. And I'm like, okay. Kimberly wants to know, do I ever sit down and create cards for my own use, not for work? Yes, sometimes I do. And a lot of times I will do it when I'm watching a live stream, like if Gina K is live on a Tuesday night and Dan doesn't need to watch shows with me because he's busy, I'll come in and I'll just do some crafty things on my own that I don't share and that I don't intend to monetize. You know what I mean? So yes, I do. And it's fun to do that too. And sometimes it gives me ideas for things that I might want to turn into a video. So yes. Jill says, I would love to track back to the scrapbooking days. I always dreamed I would critique a page and loved it when you did that. I had a series called, what was it called? Make a Page Monday, where I would take someone else's layout and I would point out how they could have done it better by redoing it for them. How do I save memories now? I just don't. And I know that's a thing that I probably should consider. I keep a lot of pictures on my phone, and I keep a lot of this stuff more private now, mostly because my kids are adults. And I will tell you this, I have a little regret of all that I shared about them. I went back and deleted or put many posts about my kids to private. My son's like, I don't really want people to be able to go, as I'm an adult man now and they can Google my name and there's a picture of me holding a chicken on a farm. I do have some regret of that because I think when I was a younger parent, social media we didn't really know what it was. I look at my daughter and son now, and my daughter's like, yeah, I'm not sharing a single picture of my child online. So they have a different perspective because they've grown up in this culture. And yeah, I just, I will say this, sometimes when I see what my dear friend Allie Edwards is still doing, I love it, but I just kind of moved on from that type of documenting. And right now I think I'm okay with that. If there comes a time where I feel like I want to start telling more stories about my experience, I'll do it. I still love it as a theory, but in theory, not as a reality. Oh boy, I'm never going to get through all these questions. Okay. Would I consider doing calling a video on the process of creating videos, kind of like a guide? You know what? I've thought about that. I've thought about doing like how to make a YouTube video, and I think there's a market for it, right? I think there's a place for it. So never say never. I love educating people, and I love educating them on the things that I've learned. I think because in this industry, I've worked with a lot of creative people, a lot of generous people who have shared information with me. It goes back to my scrapbooking days and learning along with my friend Allie Edwards how to teach scrapbooking online. What's the tech? What's the microphone? What's all this stuff? How do we edit? How do we learn how to get better at this? And I think there is a place for it. So you know what? That keep in mind. Never say never. Whew. All right. Brenda, and that another question from Brenda on categorizing my sentiments. Hopefully what I showed you helped a little in that. So I'm gonna skip by that one. Karen, I just made myself smaller. What did I just do? Karen wants to know, what's my typical workday like? How much time do I get to spend actually creating? You know, and here's the thing too. I could turn this into a two-parter if you are enjoying this. I'm just gonna say that. Let me have a cup of coffee here. Hold on. I'm going to tell you about my day. So I wake up around 6 or 6:30, sometimes 7, and I sit in bed. And I'm trying to stop myself looking at Instagram anymore because I find it to start my day out sometimes negatively. And I know that sounds crazy, but I just have trying to avoid it more and more. It's just a thing. And I get up and I go get the coffee. And then I come in here and I start out my day with emails. So everything that needs to be replied to gets replied to. I check my calendar schedule for the day. And I do try to have a clear vision of each week and what's going to happen. And what I tend to do is if there are videos that need to be made, I do that in the first part of the day. I am much better in the morning than I am in the afternoon, right? So I will film as much as I can. Sometimes that's only one video a day because believe it or not, I mean, it can take a lot out of you if you're trying to do something well, especially if things don't go so well, like the video I showed just the other day on my channel where I wanted to do a quickie and it turned into I've got to pour adhesive remover all over this card. But I work in the mornings best. Usually then I will have lunch at noon. I tend to eat about the same thing every day. Right now I'm in a big chickpea phase. And the reason I tell you that is sometimes I think my repetitive nature on doing certain things like same breakfast every day, same lunch every day is because then I don't have to think. I don't have to take creative energy in what are we going to eat, Kathy? What are we going to have at lunch? I do this because it just allows me to focus my creative energy in other places. Dinner, I'll get creative or we'll get takeout. But then the afternoon, right, then I come back in. Sometimes I have meetings. That tends to be the time where meetings get scheduled. Like I have a planning meeting today at 3 on Zoom with my team at Scrapbook and Cards today because we are going to start planning our fall winter issue. I have design meetings in the afternoon via Zoom with the Simon Says Stamp design team where we brainstorm our next releases and make our assignments. And the afternoon is a time that I will do editing and blog posts and the other kind of admin things like setting up newsletters that need to go out because I don't have Megan, I'll see Megan later. I don't have an assistant. I've never wanted to spend the money and maybe that's a detriment to me. But like when you're a small business and what I do counts as a small business, I'm a sole proprietor. I'm not quite an LLC. That's a whole other story, but that's happening this year. But I've always been a small business. And so I run it all. And for me to hire someone to do things for me, it just doesn't make sense because I don't make enough money to do that. I make enough, but not, I don't want to have staff. So I do it all myself. It's just me. And yeah. And then at about 2:30 or 3, if I'm completely toast, I will take a nap now, or I will go watch a rerun of Lost. And then, even though I shouldn't be doing it this summer, I'll pour a big glass of wine and have potato chips. So that's what my day looks like. Vicki Perry, I will always be adding more word sentiments. So yes, The answer is yes, but that's a good one to keep in mind. And I'm going to have all these questions too, so I'm kind of excited about that. So thank you. Thank you for asking that. Okay, first thing, and Colleen, the smile die, oh, I don't know. Now I don't know. You said, will we be seen more like Smile or Celebrating You? Yes, same answer. I'm going to be doing more. Okay. Brett wants to know, I love your content. You inspire me. Thank you. My realness is refreshing. Well, you know, I'm not wearing a bra. Okay. What is my go-to adhesive when I make cards? That is a good question, okay? Because it used to not be this, okay? Today, my go-to adhesive is Connect Glue and Gina K Designs Tape Runner. These are the bomb. This is my jam. This is my friends. I love these people. And foam tape. So I use Dot Runner and Gina K Connect Glue and foam tape. Those are my go-to adhesives. When I was a scrapbooker, the only thing I ever used was Tape Runner. Not this, because Gina didn't have this back when I was a scrapbooker. I used to use the Kokio brand, which is still a great brand. I just love the size of this, and it works so good. It's a great formula, and this is made by ThermaWeb, so they know adhesives, and this is my favorite. Those are the ones I use. And it kind of depends. I use glue when I'm adhering die cuts together. When I'm putting sequins and adhesive on, I use Tape Runner if I'm applying cardstock or pattern paper to cardstock or pattern paper. So paper to paper application, probably Dot Runner, and everything else liquid glue. All right, Francine says she's in the process of moving her craft room from one small room to a bigger room. How did I plan out my room when I moved? Anything you forgot that you would change, or if you had to do it all over again? And then again, a question with the themes and categories, and hopefully, seeing that, what I have answers that question. And I will say this, your organization doesn't have to be perfect. Mine certainly is not, which is probably why I've never done a video on it. I know what I'm doing. Jennifer McGuire's, however, it's perfect. She's the GOAT. I literally sketched out a digital sketch of what I wanted this room to be. I measured it. My room is 8.5 feet by 11 feet. How fun is that? It's like the size of a piece of legal paper. And I measured my desk because I am at the same desk that I've had for many years. It's from Room and Board here in Minneapolis. It's fantastic. And I also, again, if you watch my craft room tour, it'll kind of give you an idea of the space. And I don't think I would change anything. I think the room is working basically as intended. If anything, I just add things to it as I think about it. In fact, I will show you this. I think I can do this. This is going to be a little weird, but I thought about, oh, come on, there we go. Okay, I'm going to try something and show you this. Okay, I'm going to take my die cut cam and I'm going to turn it into a different cam. You ready? Here we go. Let's go. And we're at question 30. So we'll come back to this. Let's see if it's upside down. Oh, it is. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Do we see this now? Oh, it is upside down. Okay, let's try this. Oh boy. You know what? There we go. How's that? No, it's still upside down. All right. I'm not sure. Hold on. Let's flip it. I got to rotate. Rotate, rotate. Okay. Thank you. So, for example, what I mean by, adding things is I just go up as needed. See that there? And I love, the light is going to be really weird. I love that I have been able to figure out ways to make what I put in here work for me. And now if you look over here, that's the closet, and I have tons and tons of storage in there as well, even though it's kind of a hot mess. But I just wanted you to see that. I go up, and I've got more room on the walls to put another ink thing if I need one. Isn't that nice? All right, let's go back to the question we were at. Oh, that was scary. I'm so sorry about the The vertical thing. We're going back to our question. I think I was at 30, Francine. Okay. Okay, we're moving on. Also, if I do a crappy job with any of these and you don't think I answered it, well, just email me. I'll give you a better answer. I got more time to think. Did I attend a college for the arts? No. I graduated from the University of Texas, Arlington. Not Austin, Arlington. With a degree in journalism. And the way I learned to design a card was I learned graphic design in my corporate world and became a graphic designer instead of a journalist. And everything you learn as a designer translates into scrapbooking, card making. Design is design. It doesn't matter what you're designing. If you are designing a magazine like I do, great. If you are designing a card, great. It's all the same. Oh, Karen, you're a UTA grad? And that's where I went. I went to the University of Washington for a couple years and transferred when my parents moved to Texas. They moved to Grapevine, and I was 19, and they said, do you want to move with us? And I said, sure, why not? Well, also they said, we won't pay for your college if you stay in Seattle. So I kind of had a choice to make, and I knew I didn't have money for college. So Arlington, there you go. Michelle, Waxahachie, been to Waxahachie, and it's a good town. A lot of people might not know how to pronounce that, but I do. Yeah. So I learned because I knew design, and then I scrapbooked. And then when I started making cards, I just took all the design stuff I had and thought, let's just make it in a smaller scale. Plus, I watched Jennifer Maguire, Ad Infinitum. I watched Gina K, and I thought, oh, this is how they do those things. So watched and learned. Sandy's question, what tool could I absolutely not do without? And again, Misty. My sweet Petunia, you're a genius. Gloria's question, I understand you keep all of your design stamp sets, but there are any other stamp and die sets that you have kept and continue to use that may be retired? Gloria, one of the things that I will keep, well, they're not retired, but okay. Actually, some of my favorite little things are my shape dies. I will never get rid of those. So whether it's an A2 layers dies, whether it's circles or stars from Hero Arts, I will never get rid of those ever because that's what I use the most. When it comes to other things, I feel like Simon Says Stamp has such a large inventory that those things are more likely to be out of stock than some things. For example, I have Lawn Fawn stamps that I bought in the very beginning, and I am going to pull some of those out to do a something old video one of these days because I have more confidence, I think, as a stamper and colorer. But those are still available, so I keep those. It really depends. Part of what if you watch my craft room tour, I don't have room to keep it all. And so some of those older things I will keep, but most of them, it's just a matter of space that I don't keep it all. Okay, Jill says, sometimes when I'm gluing a bunch of small die cuts, I get the excess glue in a card I am making. Any suggestions for a glue remover? Well, I will tell you this. When I am doing that, and I know exactly what you're talking about, I keep a craft pick handy. And when I see that glue starting to spread, I will just scrape it. You know what I mean? I will go right along the edge and scrape it off, wipe it, scrape it to do the best I can. One of the things you can try to get into the habit of is using less glue, but you can also try, if you're quick, an adhesive eraser. It sometimes works, but I really do suggest keep your craft pick handy. Don't poke yourself in the eye and scrape. Okay. Let's see. Alicia asks, and again, if I skip a question, she says, I'm returning to card making after a 20-year hiatus. I'm doing okay with card layout, but really struggle with color. Any suggestions on how to feel more comfy picking colors? One of the things that I think can be the hardest thing to do is choosing color, right? I think color is very hard to choose if you're not comfortable with it. And true story, I'm a graphic designer who never really loved color. So what I do is I think of my favorite colors in crafts, not like in the world, because I love wearing black, but like I said, pink and orange, right? I think of colors that I love and I build out one way or the other on the color wheel. So if I'm going to use orange, there's going to be pink on one side or red. I tend to do pink. And there's going to be yellow on the other side. And that simplifies my color choices right there. And that's called analogous colors, colors that follow one another on the color wheel. If your favorite color is purple, well, take that purple and maybe go with a lilac on one side and go with a deep blue on the other. Think of things as they go around a color wheel. The other thing you can do, pick your favorite color and just go monochromatic. Monochromatic cards are beautiful. It's where you take one color and you might use a lighter version or a darker version, but you are working in one color family, and that's going to help build your confidence with color. And I think monochrome is beautiful. I think picking one color can be very elegant and very beautiful. So that is another tip that I would have. Also, I recently got the Color Cube. I see people talking about it in the chat. And the Color Cube, which is a product from Sarah Renee Clark, who's an big YouTuber with a big following and does art stuff. I've had people leave me comments saying, Kathy, I've noticed you're breaking out of your box of color use because of these cubes. The answer is yes. It's helping me to pick some other things. Also, you can go online and try this. Google fun color combos for crafts and see what comes up. There are so many free resources, and that they will give you some ideas. And just see those colors, pull the same cardstocks or pull the same inks, and go to town. Hopefully that helps. Brenda says, I saw a video using one of Tim Holtz's dies and they printed pictures on vellum. What is the best weight to print on? And do you need to tape it to a piece of plain copy paper? Now, if you're doing it on vellum, and I assume you have well, I've never done this, but an inkjet printer, you do need to tape it in place onto a piece of paper and then pop it down. So yes, I don't do a lot of that for card making, but I would say yes. It really depends on what your printer can take. Like my printer, it's an old Canon. It'll take 80, it'll take 110. You just have to test it. But yes, if you're trying to design something and run it through your printer, tape it down, run it through. Inkjet's best most of the time. All right. Kathy, I have people suggest I take orders or get a booth at craft fairs, but I'm afraid of making work that it will take away the joy. Does having to create on schedule sometimes take the joy out of just creating for fun for you? You might be surprised that I'm going to say no, because I still can't believe how fun this is, but I can see how it would. I can see how it would. Do you know what I mean? And if that day should come that I'm not having fun at this job, I will have to pivot into something else. I'm 58 years old. I could retire at 65. I don't know. Will Dan and I have enough money to do that? I mean, I hope so, but welcome to the Financial TED Talk with, that's a great question. It doesn't for me, but if it did, I wouldn't be able to sustain the authenticity of having fun. I wouldn't be able to fake it, So hopefully that answers that question. Oh, Beth, no question. Every time you watch a video, you take a little tip here, a little there, da-da. Beth, thank you. And Emma too. Thank you both so much, because you know what? I'm telling you what, I appreciate you all so much. Angie wants to know about getting that smooth blend with the pencils and Gamsol. So, okay, I've only done a few videos. I have one coming too, by the way. It'll come out on Tuesday, and that's all I can say about that. But, I think you just need a heavyweight cardstock. I know that Gina K's cardstock for this is great because it's smooth and it's heavy. So her heavy base weight and practice, making sure you have enough of your blending solution on the stump, making sure you have enough of your, color on the paper. And practice. You don't have to do it perfectly. Practice. See what happens. And you might surprise yourself. Eileen, what weight do you use for your card bases? And do you have a preference as to top fold or side fold? Or does the fold depend on the design of the card? My weight for card bases almost exclusively is 110-pound Neenah Classic Crest in the Solar White. I do top fold. It's just a visual thing, but I will do a side fold if I don't have enough paper to make the top fold. I just like the top fold. I feel like it's different. I feel like it's different because most of the cards in stores is a book fold, a side fold, and I think that's why I do it. Yeah. Talking a lot today. That's kind of crazy. Okay. So hopefully that answers that question. Carmen, got recently connected to your channel. Love to watch your videos. I'm talented and fun to watch. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Huge circle of family, friends. You create cards year round. Do you have any guidance, insight, or wisdom for mass producing cards? You know what? I don't. And I'm so sorry that I don't, but I don't mass produce cards because I kind of like the fun of just making one. Do you know what I mean? Oh, could you hear the sirens in the background? I don't know what's going on. I love just making cards for one at a time. So I'm not your great resource for that. And I wish, I can't answer all the questions in a way that I think is going to give you the best bang for your buck. How do I decide which stamp and dies to purge, and how often do I purge? Well, it really is the stuff that is mine, I'm going to keep. A lot of the Simon stuff and that I love, I'm going to keep. Same thing with Concord and Gina K and Waffle Flower. If it's really something that I feel like it's a one and done, I purge because I don't have room. That's really what it comes down to is the longevity of the piece, right? If I know I'm going to use it again, I keep it. If not, purge. And again, yes, thank you, Ann Bennett, in the comments. Jennifer McGuire has a lot of great tips on math. I cannot stress Jennifer as the resource for pretty much everything. Yes, she's my friend. She's why I make videos. I thought, well, she does this. I'm going to do this. She's got great tips on that. Go to her blog, search. There's so much information there. I tell you, it's crazy. I just bought a Misty. What's the material you see that crafters use on the oblong magnet? I don't know if you're talking about this, but I have a grip mat inside mine from Waffle Flower. It's stuck in there, and that's what I hold my paper with. But the other thing you can buy to put in there is called the Misty mouse pad. And you can take your little Misty magnet, and it will hold through that. So hopefully that answers. How many hours do I, this is a multi-pronged. How many hours do I spend crafting on any given week? I'd say 12 to 15. That might be generous, but that probably work-wise. What other hobbies or interests do you have or like when you're not crafting? I like television, I like potato chips, and I do like cheap red wine. All right. Fanny, okay, we're coming up on 1 o'clock. Maybe I'll go to 1:15, and then I'll see if I can get through these more quickly. I did do the typical day in the life, Fanny, so we got that covered. Thank you, Kathy. Well, that's very nice. I appreciate that kind comment. All my questions have been asked. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that too. Oh, Barb wants to know, where do I get ideas? How do I know what the crafty world needs or wants? Barb, I don't know if this is Barb Wong, but here's where I'm at today. I always feel like I'm running out of ideas. Every time I sit down to design, every time I sit down, I don't think I have any more ideas. I sometimes don't know where it comes from. I'm not going to say it comes from some mystical place in the corner of my craft room, but I feel like right now I have so many things. Hey, Barb, it is you. Okay. That I think I don't need anymore. I don't need to design anymore. I've got plenty. I'm good. I don't want to inundate people with any more things. So sometimes it comes from Simon Design meetings when one of my design genius coworkers like Sherry Carroll or Nina Marie Trapani or Christina Warner will say, why don't you do this? And I'm like, okay, I'll do that, because they have great ideas. And yeah, so sometimes they'll come there. Then the process is just sit down and, most of what I do is type-based things. And I love typography and I love kerning and I love making my letter die words so that they're all one piece and building out the serifs and all the little production-y stuff that goes into that. Or sometimes I'll do something with imagery. And when I do those things, I will license artwork because I can't draw. I'm not an illustrator. I've never been able to do that. I wish I did, but you only have so many skills. And that's not one of them. But I will find artwork and pay to license so that I can take their drawings and convert them into stamps and dies. So sometimes I do that too. But the idea is, I don't necessarily know what the crafty world wants or needs. It feels like a crapshoot. I've done some things sometimes that I thought were great that sold terribly. And then I've done some things that were so simple and sold out right away at Simon. And I thought, wow, how did that happen? And so I don't think I know. I tend to not be super trendy. And I think that's okay. And yeah, good typography speaks for itself, right? I see some stamps and dies that I think, oh, they could have, put those letters closer together. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question. It's good. It's just luck. Lori wants to know if Simon is going to release their new colors in little cubes. Yeah, I think the plan is for all the colors to come out in those 6-packs. So just hold tight. I don't have all the advanced info, but yes, the plan is we've released many of them, but more are coming. So there are cubes. The new ones I'm sure are going to come. Daniela, thank you for being you and sharing your creative process. Do I have a tip or trick to keep track of sentiments that are part of a stamp set? I just keep them all together, and I think that is it. Oh, Ellen, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. No need, but I thank you. I keep them all together, and that's what I do. I don't ever separate. No separation. I hope that answered the question. Joe, thank you for your comment. That was very nice. Janice wants to know, is the better press plates can be used as regular cover plates and run through the die cutting machine? Maybe. I don't know. I actually just used a better press plate or a press plate for the better press, and that video is going to be coming at some point. But I don't know the answer to that because I haven't done enough with my press plate. Kelly says, I love metallic cardstock, but I've had trouble with them peeling. Okay, Kelly, I've never had that happen until the video that I did and posted just the other day. It peeled. I've never had that happen. So it is a thing. I don't know what the problem is. So hopefully try it again and do your best. Okay. I think, let me see. I'm an Italian followers. I loved 10-minute design. Will there be a new course about design coming? Franca, I don't know. I would love to do something about design with online card classes. They're my favorite platform, and I love working with Christina and Jennifer. And if that were where I was going to go with a new design course, I would go there. So there. Kathy, when I see a product that I want to use or make a card, how do I decide what to make? What is the process moving from into a card idea? I mean, it is really just pulling the product and then thinking, okay, for example, I love pink. What inks should I pull? What cardstock should I pull? A lot of why I film the way I do is it's kind of shows the process. I don't do voiceover videos anymore, not really. I kind of stopped doing that for some reason during the pandemic, and that's why I do the live format type of video that, you can hear all the things that I'm doing. But that way you see the process. It changes sometimes, and I don't really have a formula or a guide that I follow other than pull some product, pull some inks, and let's get to work. So I don't know if that helps. And Jill's question, how long does it take from a design to a stamp becoming a die? So we'll start designing. I'll spend anywhere from a couple days a month designing and getting the files ready, and then they go, and then you probably see them in the store 4 months later. 6 months later, 4. Depends on when the release is, but that's usually the timeline. Oh, Kelly, thank you so much. Oh, you're so kind. Donna wants to know, what 6 distress oxides would I buy to start my collection? I don't know that, I'm not going to be able to do the names, but red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. In the shades that Tim sells, and I can't, like, my mind isn't going to where it needs to go. A rainbow. Just get your rainbow, and then you can make pretty much anything once you have that done. VersaFine, Deb says, it's so juicy and it smears. And it never dries for me. Well, Deb, you know what you could do? You stamp something in the VersaFine. If it's not going to affect anything, sprinkle a little clear powder on there, heat set it, and it smear no more. Clear powder is your friend, if that will work. Jill, thank you so much. That is also very nice from you. Appreciate that. All right. Sue says, I'm trying my hand at filming a crafty video, partly because I like to look at cards and no longer have to remember them, and I fantasize about doing unboxing videos. I feel awkward talking to myself. Do you have any advice on how to get over stage fright? There's a channel that I love here on YouTube, and it's called Think Media. And I would highly recommend anyone who wants to get into making YouTube videos to check out Sean Cannell and his team. One of the things he talks about is punching fear in the face. And this is basically his short code for just do it. You know, I mean, the beautiful thing about doing this, right? Normally I'm by myself and I'm filming and I'm talking. I'm comfortable with myself, so it doesn't feel weird to me anymore. It doesn't feel weird to hear what my voice sounds like. Like back in the day, you know, when you used to record yourself on a tape recorder in the olden days, and then you'd hear the playback, you'd be like, I don't sound like that. I think I've heard my voice so much now that I know exactly what it sounds like. You know, just do it. Make some things, film some things. You know what? Nobody starts out perfect. Nobody starts out great. Everybody makes mistakes, and there's a learning curve for everything. So practice and do. Practice and do. Because you practice on filming for yourself before you think about a big, you know, launch into YouTube, and see what happens, and practice and play it back and see, like, hey, do I sound nervous? Do I sound annoying? Because that's the one thing too. I don't think my channel would have grown if I had kind of an annoying voice, but I say, just practice. Punch fear in the face. Think Media. Check them out. Candace says, I like posting cards on social media, but I cannot get my pictures to look professional. Okay, so here's the little secret, Candace. Oh, you have a Canon R7. Well, there you go. I was going to say, number 1, I don't take pictures with this, okay? Not going to do it. Number 2, I have a Canon 5D Mark II. It's ancient. But the lens I have, it is buttery and delicious. It is oh gosh, why can't I think of it? It's the 28-70 Canon, the good glass. I can't think of, why am I blanking? It was very expensive. I bought it 15 years ago. Is butter. It is a butter. It's got beautiful glass in it. It's the higher end lens. I have it linked on my craft room tour. And I shoot primarily in natural light. I try not to use studio lights when I'm shooting. My shooting still happens downstairs. And I take pictures on a board. I have this cool setup now from a place called Replica Studio, but you don't need a good setup. But I always bounce white light into my shots with a whiteboard. And I also have a big reflector, and I flood the whole field with that white. But the lens is butter. And if you have an R7, that's a good camera. So honestly, if you have a good 50 millimeter lens that's fast, and by fast, I mean, you know, your aperture can be dialed way down to like 1.8 or, well, 1.4 is kind of crazy. See, when you get me techie, then I get really geeked. Try shooting in natural light, no lights shining down, go next to a window, don't be in the sun, hold up a whiteboard or lean up something white so that it can bounce light into your surface. Give it a go. All right, I love camera geeky stuff. My camera's really old too, and I've thought about getting it Yeah, it's a 28 to 70. It's a fantastic lens. It's the E. I can't think of which one it is. Anyway, I hope that helps, Candace. Chris wants to know, what's my favorite easy to make go-to meal? Oh, that's a good question. You know what we love that's so fast? It's called spicy rice. It's fried rice with green onions, pork, a seasoning mix. Like I make my own spicy sauce, and we have fried rice and we eat it, and it's so quick. I don't have a recipe for it. It's just really easy. That's one of my go-to easies. Kimberly, thanks for the inspiration. Wondering if I still listen to the genre music of new wave, et cetera, et cetera. And if there was a band I could go see live anywhere, anytime, what would it be? Number one, yes, I'm stuck in the 80s. I listen to that kind of music all the time. I'm not super up to date on what's new and modern, although I do like Taylor Swift. I do, because my daughter does. And I like Billie Eilish. I think she's fantastic. But I have three favorites. Think of it as my trinity. I have Peter Gabriel is the number one. He's number one. And number two is Crowded House. And number three would be REM with Prince on the side. That's it. And so I feel like I wouldn't go to a concert to see them because I've seen them all, and every single one of them was fantastic. The experience was great. I had front row seats at Crowded House. It will never be better than that. It will never be better. I was so close to the lead singer, his name is Neil Finn, that I couldn't look at him because I thought he's going to think I'm a nutter. And because I've seen them in such good settings, I'll never go to see them again. Anyway, that's a super fun question. Dawn says, I know you swatch your paper and ink on rings, I believe by manufacturer. How do you store them? On hooks or some other way? I will show you. Let's go back to this is question 62. Oh boy, here we go. Die cut cam. We see that? See those right there? I put them on little hooks on my IKEA pegboard. How fun was that? All right, we're going back. I'm so glad I mean, my hand's a little shaky. Okay, but that was pretty fun. Okay, let's go down. Cheryl tried to emboss a silhouette on a front card front, did all the steps. Yeah, I'm reading, using my heat gun, could not get the powder to stay on the design. Huh. You may not have had enough ink on there. That's my guess. Check your embossing ink. If you're not using Versamark, check out Versamark. It's a really solid. That's the only thing I think that you don't have enough ink on there. Dawn, the silhouette sentiment stamps are my favorite. Would you consider adding more sentiments such as thank you? Yes, I will copy that down and put it in my supply list. Charlene, getting to your question. If I could collaborate with any other crafter or artist, who would it be and why? You know, I like to collaborate on a product. You know who it'd probably be? Probably Gina K. Because I have so much respect for her as a designer, as a businesswoman, as a creator, as a person. She's such a good person. And I like her so much. But I also love how she can tap into things that people actually use. And I think it would be really fun to do a collab with Gina. That would be my answer, Charlene. I love her so much. Best way to clean and care for your stamps, honestly, water and wipes. That's it. That's all I do. Water and wipes. And if it's a really nasty ink, meaning like a pigment ink that's really staining, Hero Art Scrubber and Stamp Cleaner. They work great. That's it. That's all I do. All right. We've got the Gina. Danielle, I think we kind of covered that when it's dry and glossy and it's noticeable. I mean, again, you just want to try to be a little less generous with that glue, and I'm practicing at that. Stencils, I showed Danielle. I store them in my Tailored Expressions. I love these binders. I love them so much. And if I was on a super tight budget, what extra something would be the most versatile and stretch the best if I had the inks, the stamps, folders, few dies, and some stencils? Ooh. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess the extra something would be if you didn't have a MISTI, if you didn't have some kind of stamp positioner, or if you didn't have a sticky mat, whether it's the Waffle Flower, the Altenew, those sticky mats, the ones that I have inside my MISTI and the ones that I have that I use for ink blending, that is the game changer for me in the past couple years. Love sticky mats. So good. I also saw someone ask about storing embossing folders. They're in the closet in the same kind of bins that I store my stamps. And most of them are from Spellbinders or Simon Says Stamp. Gina's I store with Gina. I keep Gina's embossing folders where I keep her stamps. So it's someday I'll do a closet tour, but it's not as sexy as you would think. All right, Kathy, I think we've got that kind of covered, so I'm going to skip that. Oh, there I go getting small again. Kathy, how do I organize? We've covered that. Okay, Kathleen says, I only have a few machines, but there are many more. Could you discuss what machines can be more functional for embossing, dyes, thermal, etc.? I feel like in terms of machines, my machines do different things, right? My manual machines, and I have two, Spellbinders and Gina. They're great for die cutting, but they're also great for embossing. I don't ever really emboss anything on my Empress, for example, because I feel like every time I do it, it looks terrible. And yeah, so those things. But then there are things that do other things, right? You've got your foil. You want to use that kind of foil that is the heat reactive. Then you have, your mink or your fuse. That's a whole different thing. Then you have your, the Better Press system and the foiling system. I mean, it really depends on what you want to do and what you want to try, because I don't think we need all the things all the time. But there's a lot of things out there. So I feel like, now the gnats are coming in. I feel like the Spellbinders Platinum 6 and Gina's machine are great for using those extra things. I don't know if that really answered your question. And then, yes, categorization stuff. Well, we got that too. And how nice to have cabinets built. Oh, love that. All right. I think we're getting close to the end. Sandra, are there any holidays that I find difficult making cards for? Oh, yeah, it's hard to lose a parent. Halloween is, I don't really have any category that I tend to not do. So no, I don't really. I do a lot of general cards. Do you know what I mean? And there you go. Tips for heat embossing. I just started on my Crafty YouTube, and that's it. Oh, good. We're at the bottom. Okay. Yes, Belle. Anti-static powder. There are many types you can get. There's one from Rabbit Hole Designs. There's one from Tailored Expressions. There's a little bag. Anti-static powder, when you're new, if you're wondering why you stamp and powder sticks to everything, that is why it sticks to everything, because everything has static and you touch your cardstock and then powder, it gets drawn to that. But when you use anti-static products like this, it will make what you stamp be nice and clean. When you put your powder on, most of the powder should fall away. And if not, get yourself a paintbrush or an angled shader, which is what I use, and then you can brush away any of the extra that you have. Okay, you know what? I feel like that was a lot. And let's go back to my face. Whoo, look at me. I still have coffee. Now, here's the thing. I think we will do another one too, because I know there's a lot of questions in the chat. And I will say this. Definitely check out my craft room tour. It's not the best tour video you're ever going to see, and I will update links following this live. Give me a little time, because I gotta go have my chickpeas for lunch. But I will have more info coming. And I just completely lost my train of thought, because I saw someone, Betsy said, your hair's still down. Indeed it is. But yeah, hopefully some of these questions answered help you today. I mean, I feel like these are the kinds of things, like when I'm live and I'm making a card, I don't really get the opportunity to look up and answer all the questions as much as I would like to. Of course, when we're in a premiere, I have much more of an ability to do that for you and answer questions during the chat. But if there's anything that, and yeah, both Emma and Beth are posting my craft room tour. But thank you for being here. I know when the video started, thumbs down started to fly right away. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's totally fine. You know what? This kind of video is not for everyone, Q&As, and I totally get that. But I appreciate you for being here today. And yeah, if there's something that you really need answered. Oh, Kelly Dubeck wants to know, how many toppers do I have for my glasses? I've got tons of them and I don't use any of them. The reality is I just like the black ones. I really do. The black ones are my favorite. It's kind of my vibe. But yes, I will be updating the list with things that I mentioned. And yeah, I got through a lot of questions. And oh my gosh, Michelle, thank you so much. Wow. That is, and thank you for the super chats today. I really appreciate them. It's certainly not, you don't have to do that, but I turn the ads off on my live while I'm doing them. I thought about leaving them on today because I wanted to test to see, because the ad revenue I've noticed has gone down, but I don't think it has anything to do with that. You never know on YouTube. You do your best, and the best is all you can do. So thank you for being here today. I will be back I've got lots of things planned for next week. And then I have a video that I'm going to be working on tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be ready to roll by the weekend. And other than that, yeah, if you have a question that you thought, Kathy, I really wish you would have answered this. Why is this not coming up? You can email me at, my email button is no longer working. Well, there you go. What are you going to do? I thank you for being here today. I'm going to let you all go grab your lunches as well. And thanks so much for being here today. I appreciate each and every one of you for commenting and being involved. It helps my channel, and it certainly helps the algorithm say, hey, maybe we'll recommend this kooky ladies channel to other people. So with that, have a great day. I'll see you back here with another card project soon. Bye. Thanks so much for joining me today for my live stream. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love to have you, so hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a few more videos you might be interested in checking out. Thanks for watching and have a great day.